Yas Marina doesn't glow. It hisses. It lights up the desert like a warning shot. A place where championships don't end politely, but get dragged into the sand until someone stops twitching. The walls feel tighter here. The runoff zones feel colder. The start lights stare back at every driver like they know a secret. And inside this pressure cooker, 3 men walk in, carrying the weight of completely different worlds. Lando Norris walks like a man holding a dream that scares him more than losing it. 12 points clear, but looking over his shoulder at a shadow with fangs. The tense assassin has spent 2025 teaching the world he belongs here. But belonging is not the same as conquering. And a man chasing his first title always carries the ghost of history's failures on his back. Oscar Piastri walks smaller, quieter, harder. The cold executioner. Ice in his eyes, but cracks in the armor. He came into 2025 to rip out his teammate, to erase the pity and comparisons, to prove he was born with the same venom. And yet here he is, 4 points behind Verstappen, staring down the possibility that the team he wanted to bend may now order him to kneel. And then there's Max Verstappen, the Predator King. The man who has turned pressure into currency, fear into fuel, and championship finales into playgrounds. He enters Abu Dhabi 12 points down. He doesn't blink. He doesn't sweat. He doesn't even pretend to care about the politics swirling in front of him. When asked about McLaren possibly using team orders, Verstappen didn't posture. He didn't bark. He didn't play macho. He said the one sentence that cuts deeper than any threat. All that matters is the trophy. It wasn't arrogance. It wasn't provocation. It was the scariest thing a man in a title fight can ever say. Because the one opponent you can never break is the one who has already removed fear from his bloodstream. 20 years from now, Verstappen will still see that trophy on his shelf. He doesn't care how he gets it, who helps who, or what the world thinks. And under these lights, with Yas Marina breathing down everyone's neck, the message is clear. Max is here to win a war, not an argument. Norris is here to protect a kingdom he hasn't even finished building. Piastri is here to decide whether he's a soldier or a sovereign. Tonight, the desert doesn't offer mercy. Tonight, every mistake becomes a scar. Tonight, every decision becomes a confession. This title fight isn't equal. It never was. It's a pyramid built out of fear, ego, pressure, and the lies teams tell themselves to get through the night. At the top of that pyramid stands a man who no longer competes for validation. Verstappen is the rare beast of Formula One, a champion who does not fear losing because he already swallowed greatness whole. When he says the trophy is all that matters, he isn't humiliating McLaren. He's reminding them that he's survived championship wars that would break both their drivers in half. Verstappen holds psychological power, not speed, not dominance, power, the invisible kind, the currency that decides titles before engines even fire. Norris, meanwhile, carries a crown built from hope, and hope is fragile. He's led this championship like someone walking on glass. Brilliant speed, ruthless racecraft, but moments of tightening, tiny cracks where you see the doubt leak through. The tense assassin doesn't race with indifference, he races with need. Need burns hot, but it also burns uneven. Then there's Oscar Piastri. He entered 2025 with the cold-hearted promise of a man who didn't want to be second to anyone ever again. He fought, he clawed, he bled his way back into contention, only to find McLaren now treating him like a tool to protect Norris's bid. That's the poison dripping into this finale. Piastri is not out of the championship mathematically, but the team knows his chances are thin. If the race reaches lap 45 and Piastri sits fourth with no path to victory, McLaren will command him to step aside. And that's where the psychological storm begins, because Piastri isn't a natural servant. He's an executioner, cold, precise, clinical, born to end careers, not escort titles. McLaren believes their unity is strong enough to survive team orders. Verstappen believes otherwise. He knows pressure fractures teams faster than engines. He knows the moment McLaren pulls the lever, something inside Piastri will snap. Not publicly, not dramatically, but internally, where the most dangerous kind of resentment grows. McLaren spent the entire Qatar weekend tripping over their own genius, fastest car, fastest drivers. But strategy that felt like sabotage dressed as ambition. They threw away a win for Piastri. They threw away a podium for Norris. They threw away their comfort. And now, with the title on the line, they are expected to make team orders work flawlessly? Verstappen doesn't think so. He sees weakness where McLaren sees optimism. He sees desperation where McLaren sees teamwork. He sees a crack big enough to drive a championship through. Because while Norris dreams of the crown and Piastri questions the chain around his neck, Verstappen walks into this finale with one thing: a mission stripped of everything but hunger. And hunger has a longer memory than loyalty. Norris wants to believe he's built for this moment. Piastri wants to believe he's respected enough not to be sacrificed. The team wants to believe they can control both. They can't. Because the ugly truth is this: team orders are not about unity. Team orders are about choosing who you're willing to betray. Piastri may smile on the outside, but inside he's calculating. Every lap, every call, every hesitation, he's wondering if he's the future or the pawn. And pawns don't stay loyal. Meanwhile, the title sits on Norris's shoulders like a crown made of burning metal. He knows that if Verstappen wins, he must finish on the podium. He knows Yas Marina is not a track you dominate casually. He knows one bad start, one bad pit stop, one safety car, one misjudged moment, and the dream he carried since karting evaporates in front of millions. And this is where Verstappen thrives. He bleeds only when he chooses. He fears nothing except wasted opportunity. He walks into the finale with the kind of calm McLaren cannot fake. Yuki Tsunoda has offered nothing to the fight. Verstappen knows he is alone. He doesn't resent it. He weaponizes it. He uses solitude like a scalpel. And that terrifies McLaren more than any pace delta. Because a team can prepare for speed. A team can respond to strategy. A team cannot stop a man who has already accepted every possible consequence. The collapse isn't loud. It's silent, internal, psychological. And whether McLaren admits it or not, their collapse began the moment Verstappen whispered the sentence that rewrote the finale. All that matters is the trophy. Not loyalty. Not fairness. Not integrity. Not the story. Just the trophy. The cold metal truth waiting at the end of 58 laps. McLaren enters Abu Dhabi trying not to lose. Verstappen enters Abu Dhabi trying to end them. There is only one kind of man who survives nights like this, the one who has already accepted the blood cost. Verstappen fears nothing. If the race is clean, Norris wins the title. If the race is chaotic, messy, as politically violent, Verstappen becomes inevitable. The desert does not care about fairness. It only crowns whoever bleeds the least. And when the lights go out on Sunday, the world will witness the truth. Formula One has been hiding all year. Speed decides races. Pressure decides championships. In Formula One, you don't win with talent. You win with leverage.